Hello and welcome. This is Alchemistexe, and today we're going to be doing two things. We're going to take a look at Siegfried now that he has bumped himself up in the tier list, and then I'm also going to do a couple steps of the Phantom of the Kill summon, because I finally made up my mind about that. Right now I just have Siegfried just pounding away at the dummy, because I realized I did not have a second copy of Siba's weapon, and I wanted to try the stat comparison. Regardless of how Siegfried is run, there's going to be a lot of similarities, but there's also a few different options, and that's part of why I like him a lot as a unit. But I'm going to have to be blunt and say that the main selling point of Siegfried is that his counter is freaking awesome, as well as his attack range. So Siegfried, I'm going to go over a little history lesson here, is the first global exclusive unit released way back when, actually before I even started playing the game. I started playing very shortly before Xion was released, just for context. And he, I believe, was well received at first as a kind of twin blade swordsman with sharpening focus. I imagine that was hard to go wrong. I assume probably a lot of like charge up weapon art kind of things back in those days. And then as we got closer to the Age of Enlightenment, he kind of fell off due to a lack of enlightenment, then a lack of job and chance. And then it got kind of rocky from there once they finally did start enlightening the Magna-Historia units, because they just had this nasty habit of them being very underwhelming, and in Siegfried's case, not working correctly. I believe his Gate 5 actually made his attack worse. I believe that has since been fixed. And then they started doing job pluses, and like same problem, like they make him a job plus and they're like, yeah, man, the scaling sucks here. Luckily a little fine tuning later, and it doesn't suck so much. But then there was one big kind of thing missing in Siegfried's kit, and that was like, in spite of being a twin blade swordsman, he still couldn't equip the Ziba VCR. And we'll go over that in a little bit for anyone who doesn't know. Just for now, that is best in slot for any twin blade swordsman, period. But recently, I believe it was the most recent version update, eventually they finally let the guy equip the VCR. And then all of a sudden, he is noticeably higher on the tier list. And I wholeheartedly agree with that assessment, because I think that he is awesome. Now, as to whether or not you should raise him if you don't currently have him raised, that is very debatable and dependent on what you have in terms of resources like light shards, as well as other units. So yeah, that part is your mileage may vary. If you happen to already have him and already sharded him but never enlightened him, I would say go for it. All right, I'm going to see what his damage is here in this little intro section. 26. That's not too bad. I'm using a very specific setup in this that we'll go over later. But yeah, let's just smack this guy. Ooh, that was a lot of crits. Alright, and then now we're going to move into the more like formal, organized part of take a look at him, his enlightenment, gears, skills, mementos, etc. And then after we're done with all of that, we'll go into the summoning. So if you are not here for Siegfried, just here to see how bad my luck is, then click on the timestamp in the description. You guys know the drill. All right, let's go to the unit screen. All right, and here we are at the unit screen. So here are Siegfried's stats. As you can see, he's got like all right POTK, and but he's very, very fast, and he's also very mobile. But first, let's take a look at his skills. Now, there's not really one set of skills that you would want to use on Siegfried. A lot of that's going to depend on the map and what you need out of him. Like right now, I have what I call like the double snowball, where I've got crescendo on him. So this is like less upfront POTK, but you get 10 stacks, and then it gets kind of high, and then also boosts his crit as well. But if you have his gate 2, we'll talk about the enlightenment, but it's on Divine Shelter. So that just gives an upfront, and now it's bam, it's almost 800. So you may want that more because just more upfront POTK, like maybe it's going to be a shorter map excursion, and then also the survivability may make a difference as well. And then as far as whether to use sharpening focus or not, kind of the same deal. Are you gunning after one thing with more HP, or if you're just doing like trash mob extermination, then you may just want his regular like unique sub, because it's got you probably won't need the jewel recharge, at least not after a few turns. But it's got its own P attack buff for allies, and another attack that can do some CC like daze. So it depends on what you need. He can get the utility from Basic Fist as well. The reaction's always going to be Stinging Riposte. That's like the one. And then Fluid Stance. Those two are probably never going to change. But whether or not you go for Divine Strength or for Crescendo, depends on what you need. And then same thing with his gears. Right now I was trying out the Pseudo Siba setup, where he's got her weapon and then the Dazzling Bauble, because you're always going to want the Dazzling Bauble. So for any of you who don't know, maybe you don't have Siba's Memento yet, or you haven't gotten the VCR yet, this is just a godly accessory for anybody who uses Twin Blades, because it's got you covered on agility, and then it boosts your crit rate, it boosts your evasion, which generally Twin Bladers are going to want, and then the big thing is the permanently raises P attack, critical damage, jewel auto charge when attacking. And so eventually, once you've hit 10 times, you're getting 20 jewels a turn, and that's just nuts. And then also when you're using skills that can crit, especially if you're like Siba or Balt or Siegfried, and you've got multi-hit skills that can crit, the amount of damage that those crits are doing suddenly gets crazy. But also, speaking of Siba, let's get rid of a little elephant in the room here as far as comparing the two. I look at them as complements, not as substitutes. And what I mean by that is, like, in a vacuum, if you say who's better, Siba or Siegfried, I mean, if we're talking like raw damage on a single target, then yeah, Siba. But they're not perfectly interchangeable. In my opinion, Siba is the better boss killer, and Siegfried is the better just general trash mob killer. And so I like to use them together. Just throw both of them, get both their snowballs going. That was how I handled one of the Dark Phantom bosses when it came back. Was just have Chihaya lower the slash res and then just slash them to death with a crazy crit snowballing. So they don't do entirely the same thing. But if your resources are limited, like I was mentioning earlier about your light shard situation, I would prioritize Siba first, because I think you'd get more out of her when you factor in other elements too, like especially if you're using Templar leader skills. Templar teams are really strong, by the way, and very, very, very fun. I might be a little biased on that if you've seen my intro. But anyway, let's take a look at his Memento. So it's a limited, in my opinion, not that great, not that necessary Memento. It gives some HP, some dark res, some slash mod, and I don't have any limit breaks on it, and I don't plan on reliefing it or anything. So if you don't have this, no big deal. The VCR, I honestly don't think the VCR matters that much for him, because he doesn't have enough gear slots. Like, if you're doing his weapon, his hat, and then the baubles, or Siba's weapon, the hat and the baubles, or an HP gear, it's just, the guy wants like 5 gear slots and he's only got 3. So I have a hard time imagining fitting in the VCR from this Memento into the kit. So if you don't have it, I left it too soon. Really just envy, like maybe Monzines if you need the HP, maybe the Logi Dios one that's a 4-star if you just want the slash mod. Just look at your Envilia group skills and pick the one that you need most for any given map, and you'll be just fine. Like, I have not had this Siegfried Memento very long, and I've been using Siegfried for quite some time. So ever since, like, I was using him even before they added the baubles, but the baubles were a nice icing on the cake. So don't worry if you don't have the Memento. It doesn't matter. I just got lucky and or unlucky, depending on how you look at it, on the last time I did a Magni Historia banner from Mementos. Okay, so yeah, let's take a look at his Enlightenment. And this is they always run long, but Gate 1, HP, P attack, crit. Those are 3 stats he loves. Get it, but maybe don't get it first. Depends on your shard situation. Also, I somehow got him this Enlightened, and it was never really my plan. like just the combination of the Magna Historia hard quests when they showed up. I did take advantage of the coins the last time they had the banners that gave the coins, if you remember. I definitely got enough to get him a little cap top. I got 5 I think I got 5 first, and then I went for 2 and then 1 and then 4, and then I don't remember when I got 3 to 3 ticks, but whatevs. So 2 is, I believe it's 25% P attack bonus on Divine Shelter. I tend to like it when characters gate 2 is Divine Shelter because it's just nice to have the resist. Taking less damage is good, but since the opportunity cost is the other snowball, it's debatable whether or not you would want it. I honestly think it depends on the map. But for a lot of content, I just run it on him so he takes less damage unless he's able to kill everything fast enough. So his leader skill is, since he has a rainbow leader skill, the enlightenment part of it just adds a bonus for light units. So I don't think that's worth it unless you really want like a light slash team or something, which you definitely could do. But I am at the point where, let's see how many shards of him I have. I have 34, probably going to get 21 more in the next week since they announced that their hard quests are coming back. I'd just rather save for gate 6 at this point. 4 is max HP, P attack, dex, strong versus envy, strong versus greed. Yeah, good. Maybe don't prioritize it before the skill altering ones, but I'm not going to argue with higher stats for him because he's fun. And then 5 makes Relentless Blade stronger. So you could live without it if your primary source of damage for him is his catalyst move. But I end up using it a lot. Even though in my opinion the primary attraction of Relentless Blade Storm is the fact that it can stop. But you know, he's only got so many skill uses, so getting better scaling is nice. And then if you were going to run him as a Holy Brawler for like some real niche purpose, then it's doubly worth it for the Supreme Battle Trance altering. But that's pretty rare. I have yet to do that, so I can't say too much about it. So yeah, that is basically his deal. You know, you probably saw a little bit of the damage showcase while I was wailing on that dummy. But what I'd like to do now is kind of showcase just a casual, my favorite way to use him, I guess. So I solo a lot of levels in multiplayer because I am eternally hungry for multiplayer coins. And so if I ever need, or if I'm short on enchantment materia, that's where I go. Because the reason I need a seemingly unlimited number of multiplayer coins is Lisbeth and Edgar's jobs. I actually finally finished gathering those book pieces for Lisbeth, and I've moved on to Edgar, but I have need 57 more of those things. So yeah, it's a lot of multiplayer coins. And then I always need more enchantment materia as well. So technically speaking, there's more efficient ways to clear this level. I think Roxy could probably do it a little bit better. But I don't know why. I derive an immense satisfaction from preemptive counters. Like, I used Levi for such a long time, and then Noin obviously is Noin. But what I really like about Siegfried is if they are in range, then he will counter. And so in certain maps, you can use Siegfried as like a choke point manager. And I love preemptive counters. Okay, let's make sure it's private because this is a showcase. Hey look, it's my Adelaide. He might be my best unit. The jury's still out on that one. But anyway, let's go find Siegfried. We'll leave him on whatever setup I had with him, because it's not going to matter too much. It's a fairly short map. Oh, he's got Divine Strength. Alright, so let's not have the snowball. Yeah, alright, let's go into this and let's see the joys of a preemptive counter. All I have to do is not get stopped by Tethys, and then we are all good. I almost checked to see if it was on auto, and I realized this is a multiplayer stage. We don't have that yet. Yeah, so that's awkward. So I know this level is a little bit outscaled at this point, but I'm not going to solo like modern day hard content. So anyway, if you're soloing this level, and you can move to this square, you can't get hit with the funeral gun. So just an FYI if you're a little bit on the new end of the spectrum. Ah, man, I wonder how many times I've played this map. It's definitely in the triple digits. I'm wondering if it's gotten into like 4 yet. But anyway, so just as a matter of practicality, we need to take her out. And then just hope we don't get sleeped. And let's see that counter work, because the training dummy just can't do this. And when we're looking at a character, I think we need to be able to... oh, he's also really dodgy. Forgot to mention that earlier. And then he's a little bit better on the AoE spectrum for Siba. I know her Memento skill gives her 1, but this Sword Dervish is just good times. We want to show off his counter though, so let's just take one out at a time. Just, for fun. But like one of the reasons that I love Siegfried is sort of just in the simplicity of his kit. It's just he's fast, he's mobile. He's got a preemptive counter that procs 100% of the time, and I love the like Martial Master / his attack range. I've just derived a lot of utility out of that. So like, yeah, maybe he's not like godly in any kind of way, but I think he brings just enough to the table that he can really help a team out. Like, you just imagine that I've also got like Siba and say maybe like Zane and I don't know, maybe Minerva for support or something, and he can just start to really wreak havoc. All right, let's see how... Oh, actually, wait. If we want to do this, we have to get out of range. Otherwise, we'll kill him with the counter. So let's get the slash up. Stacking buffs is always fun, too. Then let's get sharpening focus. Now, we don't have the crescendo snowball, so it's definitely not going to quite beat the training dummy. But let's see what we can do to this guy and see how many times it crits. 24, and that's minimum. Whenever your skills can crit, you're always seeing the minimum amount of damage you're going to do, barring anything like a guard reactive or whatever. All right, goodbye, Zahar. Not bad. All right, so yeah, that was a slightly flashier version of how I usually handle that level when I'm hunting after enchantment materia and multiplay coins. It's not the most efficient for multiplay coins, but when I'm doing both at the same time, that is why. So yeah, I love Siegfried. I get tons of use out of him. Just when you're fast and you're mobile and you can kill via counters, that's good enough for me. So all right, I think the review portion has gone on long enough, so let's end this part and let us move on to the summoning portion. All right, so the reason I decided to use one discount ticket on, well, not that banner, that banner's awful. Where's that one I actually want? Oh, there it is. I want to use one discount ticket because we got the news that Magnus Story is rerunning and all of that. So it seems very likely, it'll be confirmed tomorrow, but it seems very likely that next reset is when the Zhang banner is going to come. And that's the one. I want to save 2 discount tickets for that. And then I think there'll be a little bit of October left over after that for like the final discount ticket. No idea about that. I'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But I think 2 steps for 1,000 gems with Phantom of the Kill stuff, I think that's worth it to me. Because, I doubt that I'm going to get anything crazy. But, if I did, that could potentially affect my future plans. So yeah, let's go for it. First things first, we'll give one of these up. All right, roll number 1. Whew. Long pause. Nice and tense. Fingers crossed for not Bashozen. Or really none of the original ones. We have 2 reds. Not bad. But will they be good reds? Damn it! Ah! Jinxed myself there. I mean, she's cute, but she's not going to do anything for me, mechanically speaking. Why does it... I guess this This Bishozen problem started long before I was making videos on YouTube, so there's definitely history there, and it's not a good history. She just, I feel like she shows up like at least half the time whenever there's a guarantee for Phantom of the Kill. Like when I did my 20 pull for Tiferet, of course she showed up there too. Just man, I don't know what it is with Bishozen. Sometimes they just gotta get haunted by something you do not want. Otherwise it wouldn't be gotcha, right? Oh, Sita, huh? What is with wind today? You know what? That's at least interesting. I remember her being pretty beastly. I don't have her raised or anything, but I don't know how that would jive with today's environment. But as far as design goes, though, she's actually one of my favorites. I think she looks super cool. Like of the Phantom of the Kill units, not of total units. So I don't know if I would need to look some stuff up before I made a decision about Sita. Alright, so I would say that was not too great of a roll, but let's see what roll number 2 gets us. Because there are some pretty good units on this banner. And there's a few Dark Killers that I would love to have more shards of. Oh, wow, look at that. 3 reds. You don't see that very often, at least not on my channel. And the guarantee is regular Artemis. Again, wind units. What is going on here? I have heard that she is a really good dancer. I wonder how she stacks up with Feyrain. Not trying to use wind shards on her, though, probably. That seems like a potentially bad idea. Although apparently had some decent... Oh, right, because it's 100 shards. Oof. Right, why are we not skipping through the blues? Oh, Dark Levitane, huh? Well, I can't say that's terrible. I know she got a little bit power crept, but... I have her raised to 15 limit breaks right now. So, if I was to use Thunder Shards on her... That's a decent chunk for Enlightenment. I forget how many shards of her I already had. We'll find out shortly. Yeah, I forgot yellows can change. But that one was a Dilga, so sad. Still, 3 reds though, it's not too bad. I'm almost tempted to go to step 4 on the banner, but I don't want to give up 2 shots at the Zheng Memento banner that I'm assuming exists. But yeah, I'm thinking about Dark Levitane now, though. I think she's pretty fun, but I don't know. I feel like I've been kind of underwhelmed by her every time I've seen someone use an Enlightened one. Alright, and what is this last red going to be? Regular Artemis again. Alright. Well, that's just mean. I mean, I guess I could throw the regular shards at her and see how she stands up as a dancer, but I'm assuming that evaluation that I heard was banking on Enlightenment. I don't want to enlighten her. That doesn't seem worth the materials. Well, that was not so great either. Hello, gold. 229. Well, alright. If I had 225 Thunder Shards to spare, that might not be too bad. But overall, though, that wasn't so lucky. But that's okay. Fairly low stakes overall. No tears will be shed there. And then hopefully my luck is a little bit better next week, because I definitely like to use Zheng Yi. And so if he gets a memento, I'm definitely going to want in on that. But I'm not going to like dip into my Templar savings just for that. So, you got to have priorities when you're a gacha gaming, because if you don't know what you want, that could just lead to some impulse pulling or rage pulling, and that is not a good way to play the game. But yeah, I'm not here to preach about gacha gaming. So yeah, So, right, I promised a Rosa unit review, and I finished farming all the materials for her, and I got her all mastered, and I'm getting her all enlightened, and I'm very close to being done with that. No shortage on shards, just farming statues, that kind of thing. So I'm going to try to have that up by tomorrow night, and so that way it doesn't get in the way of the weekly updates. But yeah, that is it for today. So I will see you guys next time.